Perfect.
Let me ask you this. So you've been on a tear, scoring-wise, but also the dominating system. What's been the difference, say, in the last couple weeks then versus earlier in the season versus a year ago?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just confidence. I mean, a lot of the attention goes to Lauren and Morgan, so just trying to take opportunities as they come, and just continue to play off of those two.
Did you have a decision to make after last season to come back, or did you always know you were going to come back?
Honestly, I think I always knew. Once I heard that we got that extra year, I was like, oh yeah, it's a no-brainer. Yeah.
What do you major in?
I graduated with marketing last spring, and now I'm getting my MBA right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is just, hey, you can play some hoop, get your MBA.
Yep.
The run you guys have been on this year, expected, especially after losing Emma. You have to expect you guys haven't missed a beat.
Yeah, of course. I mean, obviously, it's a lot different without having Emma in the post, and she could do a bunch of different things. But yeah, I think we've had people step up. I mean, we have 7 fifth-year seniors, so yeah, just the experience.
How do you mentioned after game Sunday, things weren't going the best. You mentioned the experience that pulled you through. How do you and some of the more veteran players communicate that to the younger members of the team and get it through to them? Because I'm sure they're just like,
Yeah.
we're not sure that's true,
Right, for sure. Yeah, we've been in games like that, I mean, many times. So just throughout the game, I mean, Lauren had 4 fouls at one point, but she's just continuously saying, hey, we're good, like, just keep going. So, yeah.
You guys are struggling like that during the game. It's on paper a lesser team. I mean, do you ever get the thought in your head on the macro level, like, we can't have this bad loss, this is a tank on that, this is a tank on that, or are you just focused on doing better X's and O's wise?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's just in the moment. I mean, every game in the Big East is going to be really tough, so you can't overlook any opponent in the Big East at all. So, yeah, just kind of leaning on our experience, leaning on each other, staying connected throughout the whole game. Not really. I mean, we talk about it once in a while, but I'm not really honed into it that much. So, yeah.
What about confidence-wise? Get back to you. How much does confidence help, knowing you know what to expect and taking it? Do you feel like you're taking it?
Yeah, a little bit. I think I'm just kind of leaning on the preparation that I put in, all the work that I put in. Being a fifth year, I mean, I've been through it a lot. So, yeah, just kind of trusting in myself, trusting in the work that I put in.
Is any of this surprising?
I wouldn't say surprising as much, but, I mean, it's nice when shots go in and, when you're feeling good, it's easier to put up those shots.
Gratifying?
Yeah, very.
What's it been like playing in this arena? I know last year when they played Duke, I knew Gino was here, and it was like, man, what a great home court. You guys go all over and probably don't have this kind of home court. What's it been like playing here? I mean, Sunday the fans were getting really loud in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it's great. I think the size of the arena is obviously great just because it gets so loud in here when we've got fans in here. But, yeah, I think just the support of the community has been great. Only a couple home games left, so just trying to enjoy it.
Awesome.
Anything else for Molly?
Thank you, Molly.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Has she surprised you a little bit? I mean,
Yeah, like just when you think that Molly's ceiling is, a little lower than it actually is, she can surprise you. Like, it's not that you haven't seen that before, but really 6 games in a row, I think, where she's been 17 points a game, and that's pretty good stuff considering, and she hasn't been the healthiest either. She's got a little bit of a nagging hamstring, and she's an old 5th-year player who's shows up on the injury report every day, and so she's been really critical the last 3 weeks for sure, but she's also had kind of, I think, an underappreciated career because she's been alongside Morgan and Lauren and Emma, who are deservedly getting accolades and opportunities, but she's just kind of the steady one, and but we've needed her to be as good as she's been the last few weeks. So hopefully she can take that confidence and parlay it into a really strong finish.
She mentioned that the Lauren and Molly, taking the tension away, and that But how important is it to have a third piece, a third threat offensively where teams have to account for now?
Yeah, I mean, you think about like what we miss from Emma, the scoring piece, and she's been that, especially like I said, over the last 3 to 4 weeks. So I think it makes us a more dangerous team. I think you look at the attention that Morgan and Lauren get, and like I said, when you get later in the year and your body's a little beat up, and with those two, the physicality, just to be able to put the ball in her hands a little bit more, whether it's out of a timeout or just any stretch during the game. Fourth quarters, she's been really good. She's had some really good fourth quarters. So, yeah, just the experience factor, but also the playmaking. Like sometimes you just don't think of her as a playmaker. You think of her as, okay, she can make an open three, or she can, facilitate, but she can also be a little bit more of a playmaker than you think.
Both in the men's world, the game's getting more physical.
Yeah.
And it gets more physical every year.
Yeah.
How have you adapted to that? Do you like that?
Well, yeah, I watched some Texas Tech Houston men's the other night, followed by UConn Marquette men's, and I was like, geez, I'm glad I couldn't play when I played in the 80s. I couldn't even get on the court today. Well, I could, but I'd stand in the corner and they would never throw me the ball because I'd get it taken from me. So physicality is on a different level, I feel like, than it ever has been. And, it's a different game. Even you talk to alums who played 15 years ago and they talk about, gosh, I couldn't be as good a player. I'm not talking about somebody going back to the 80s and 90s. I'm talking about people who played as late as 15 years ago who understand that there would be major adjustments they'd have to make to play in today's game. So, just you look at nutrition and strength training, and just people take that stuff way more seriously than ever before, and they started at younger ages. So the physicality piece is greater, and it's really hard to officiate too. I think just again, I spent the other night watching some men's games late, and I'm like, I don't know what you call and what you don't call, but
Sunday, I mean,
yeah,
especially in the fourth quarter when it was pretty intense.
Yeah.
There's a lot of physicality going on. And
yeah.
How has your team adapted to that this year?
Sometimes better than others. I felt like I think overall we handled it well, but you see some frustration. I mean, I think we talked about Morgan and Lauren. I think they see a lot of that, and there's times where I feel like, okay, I think it's fine to go up during a dead ball and say, hey, can you watch this? But sometimes you got to be careful about reacting in the moment, and I think. But yeah, you got to play through it, and I think that's what was really pleasing about that win the other day. Is I felt like when you're looking at you got 14 minutes left in the game, and Lauren and Morgan both have 4 fouls. To have the steady presence of, Molly and Jamie Horan and Mallory Brake and people who've been around, and just kind of Kennedy Townsend made a couple big plays. To have that and then have those guys come back in, and I put them back in with 10 minutes to go, knowing that the onus is on the officials to call it, and they got to be smart. They got to, you trust that they're going to be smart, and they were. But yeah, it's tough to know what to tell them when, in terms of just handling that, and yeah, it's different than it was.
On Sunday, you guys found a way, but when you guys were struggling, I mean, do you let the macro picture of like, oh, we can't have a bad loss, this would tank our net, this would tank our net? Or you just sort of like
It did go. The macro thing did go through my head one time. Honestly, like you're like, oh, geez, we're not supposed to lose at home to a team that's below 100 net. I mean, it hit me one time, and I'm like, get past that. I hope my players aren't thinking about that. But you also know as a coach that these, nothing's easy. I mean, nothing. Nebraska men had lost 6 in a row, and then they beat 2 ranked teams. It's just like you can't take anybody for granted. I mean, the other team's got just as many scholarships as you do. They're pouring just as many resources into their coaching staff and their support staff, and so Providence practiced the day before till 6:30, and they used a shoot around. They were on the court for shoot around at 7:35 Sunday morning, so they're ready to go. And your players have to know that, and you as a coach have to know that. And you don't want your players to play tight, so you can't be like, oh, we can't. You can't tell them before the game, hey, we can't lose to Providence, because it would really impact us. You got to play just free and just loose enough, and you got to trust that they respect their opponent, and that's why you have trust of this team, because they're mature and they know that on any given day it's not going to be easy.